Many countries have laws in place to protect workers' rights. This is known as employment legislation. One of the basic things that workers are entitled to is an employment contract. This sets out information including the name of the business, the name of the employee, the nature of their role, how much they'll be paid, their hours of work, and how much holiday they're allowed. By law in the UK, workers are protected from working more than an average of 48 hours per week, and full-time employees are entitled to a minimum of 5.6 weeks of paid holiday each year.
An employment contract is often in the form of a written document that both parties sign. It's designed to protect both businesses and workers, and is legally binding. This means that there are consequences if either side breaks the terms of the contract. If this happens, employees can be dismissed from their job, while employers could be forced to pay compensation. If an employee feels that their employer isn't fulfilling the terms of their contract, for example by not paying them the agreed rate, or by not allowing them to take paid holiday that they're legally entitled to, they should bring this up with their employer. If the problem still isn't resolved, they can take their case to a tribunal.
A tribunal is a hearing where the employee can express their complaint and the business can defend itself. Members of the tribunal act as judges. They decide whether the employer was acting unfairly or not, and if so, they can order the employer to pay compensation. Tribunals also deal with cases related to unfair dismissal. This is when an employer dismisses an employee from their job without a legal reason to do so. For example, it's illegal to dismiss a worker because she is pregnant. This is known as discrimination.
The Equality Act of 2010 protects employees in England, Scotland and Wales from being treated differently or unfairly at work on the basis of their age, race, religious belief, sex, disability, sexual orientation, marital status, pregnancy, or gender reassignment. This applies to candidates at all stages of the recruitment and selection process, as well as for workers already in a job. So, for example, it's illegal for a business to decide not to hire someone because they have a disability.
Although most of the Equality Act of 2010 doesn't apply in Northern Ireland, there are a number of laws there to protect employees against discrimination based on age, sex, race, religious or political affiliation, sexual orientation, and disability. It's the role of the Equality Commission to enforce the law. This is a public body that investigates allegations of discrimination and advises policymakers, employers, and employees on matters relating to equal opportunities.
In 2018, a number of large organisations, including the BBC, were found to be paying male and female workers differently for doing the same job. This is against the law, as men and women must be paid the same amount of money if they're doing the same work. This is known as equal pay. Many countries have a minimum wage, which is the minimum amount that an employee can be paid. In the UK, the national living wage applies to workers aged 25 and over and rises every April. In April 2018, it was set at £7.83 per hour. The national minimum wage applies to workers who are over school leaving age but under 25. In 2018, it was £4.20 for workers under 18, £5.19 per hour for those aged 18 to 20, and £7.38 per hour for those aged 21 to 24. For some apprentices, the minimum hourly rate in 2018 was £3.70.
Employers are legally obliged to pay workers the national minimum wage, or national living wage. This means that every time the rate increases, the business's costs go up too. So, many businesses raise the cost of their products to ensure that profit levels remain the same. A higher minimum wage can lead to businesses being reluctant to hire new workers, or downsizing the workforce by making existing employees redundant. In order to reduce costs, larger multinational businesses may relocate certain jobs to overseas countries where the minimum wage is lower.
But having a minimum wage helps to ensure that all workers receive an income that provides for their basic needs. And it does have advantages for businesses too. Higher pay can lead to better motivation, encouraging workers to stay in their jobs for longer. This is beneficial to businesses, as hiring and training new employees is costly. In the UK, employers can be fined up to £20,000 for each employee found to be working for less than the legal minimum wage. This is potentially very damaging for a small business, and is a further incentive for employers to conform with the law.